When did you know that Victoria was going to be your wife? When did you know this is the person I want to spend, my time with?
I'm probably odd in this, but let me go back a little. I'll give you. So Louis, I grew up playing sports, probably like you, but I was just playing sports all the time. Even when I got out of high school and in college, I was still playing softball 4 nights a week and tournaments on the weekend. So I never really dated anybody. Wow. I was more quiet, shy, and small, and I thought, oh man. But anyway, I got my nerve up. I met Victoria I met her in her mother's jewelry store, and I asked her out on a date, and I don't know. There was just something about Victoria. She's so beautiful, but she was so fun. And I'd never met anybody like her. So I just think after a couple of months, I thought, I'm not going to let this girl get away.
Wow.
There is no way. And I spent every minute I could with her, and we just laughed and had fun. So I think that's where, maybe mine's a little odd. I didn't date we dated a year and a half, but I knew early on. I didn't tell her, but I thought, this girl is amazing. And so I liked everything about her. So I don't know, because I don't. That's why I say I don't have good experience there about, I've been gone through 4 or 5, and
you didn't struggle as much as I did. You found the one early on.
I know.
What is the thing you love about her the most after 34 years?
Well, I don't know if I can say one thing. Just her kindness, her spontaneity. I'm so routine. Mm-hmm. And better word is
disciplined.
or boring. Machine. She would say boring because I just, it can be very machine-like. But Victoria's spontaneous, and she just says, "Come on, Joel, let's go have fun. Let's go do this, or let's go travel somewhere." So she keeps that. It's a good balance, know. And so I love that part about her, and just she's just a fun girl.
That's
and
cool.
So I feel blessed, and I pray everybody will get somebody that they love and just have fun with.
If you could coach people, maybe they're been dating for a year, or they're just starting to date. If you could say, you know what, you should really figure out these 3 main important things. Like you should ask these 3 questions and make sure you're aligned on these 3 things before you move forward in your relationship. Before you even, keep going. What would you say those 3 questions or 3 things you should really be aligned on are for people?
Well, off the top of my head, and I hope I'm giving good advice.
You're good. This is great. I love it.
I think what is comes from my point of view. What are your values in faith? I mean, if like me, I'm going to be a person that honors God, that's going to live by scriptural principles. Probably not going to be perfect, but I think where we go in there, and I think just overall values. Where do you want to go in life? I mean, what are your passions, and what are you excited about? I think those are a couple that I would think of. I think another point, I'm getting off, another thing would be, does the person have the drive that you want, or do they have too much drive? Or, I just go back to some of the friends I've been dealing with, and, the things they've been dealing with. There's people, but, are your goals aligning? Like one friend that they want to go do big things in New York. Well, he doesn't have that kind of goals. He wants to be here and do other things. And so I think those are important things to, something Victoria's father told her, and I think is good, is the person you marry, don't marry a person expecting them to change. And I don't mean to be negative, but meaning that the things that you don't like about them now, and don't think, okay, I'll fix them later. Now, I don't mean you have to find somebody that's perfect, because nobody's perfect, but I do think sometimes we get into a relationship, I don't mind that he has this addiction, because we'll help him get over it, or I don't mind that he's a little disrespectful because he'll change when he meets me. I think that's the kind of stuff that you can't sweep under the rug. And again, I know there's a balance with everything, because I don't want you to say, well, they said one wrong thing, and I think you have to find that balance. But I believe too, Louis, you can check your heart. I would think every time I was going to make a major decision, if it wasn't right, I'd feel this unrest about it. And I've learned not to ignore that now, because I have ignored it.
I've ignored that in the past and stayed with it. It just,
I've ignored it, and it doesn't go away for a long time, but if it's like an alarm. If you keep turning it off after a couple months, you're not going to hear it. You're just immune to it. So I think that's God leading us. And I know, hey, I've ignored it too, because I wanted my own way. But, God's merciful. He'll help you get through it. But I've learned now okay, why do I feel this unrest? I mean, this business still looks perfect. Why do I feel this unrest? And I think it's a fine line, because this is a question I get is, well, I'm nervous about a lot of things. Well, it's not necessarily nervous, because I was nervous about stepping up to pastor. It was more down in here I felt a peace. It is not in my mind, but I call it down in here. So if there's just an uneasiness, and sometimes women are better at this. I mean, Victoria, I can meet somebody, I think they're the greatest guy in the world.
Like, no, that guy's off, yeah.
I don't feel good about it.
Isn't that interesting? Why is that?
They have a greater perception or a discernment, maybe.
Intuition.
Intuition, yeah. And sometimes, you know what I've learned though now, as much as I don't like to hear it from Victoria, I think, okay, I got to pay attention. Because, 3 years later, I told you that guy was not
right. Why are you doing business with him or this? Yeah.
So I think you have to, listen down in here, and if there's an unrest, but again, I will go back to the positive side. God has somebody great for every person. Don't settle, and I believe that when I say they're going to come to you, it's going to happen.
Yeah, man, 34 years, you got a lot of wisdom in there. What do you think has been the key to thriving year after year, adversity after adversity, where you guys keeping the peace within the home, keeping the fun, like you said, she's still laughing. I mean, I feel like some men feel like they've taken the joy out of their wife because of the pain and the adversity and the hurt and the lack of forgiveness. How do you cultivate the environment of peace and laughter in home? I feel like everyone wants that. After 34 years. Are there things you guys do on a yearly basis where you reflect and say, what are we doing right? What could we be doing better? Are there things every night you guys talk about before you go to bed to just keep it on track? Is there something like that you guys do?
Not officially, but we do from time to time. I do think one thing I should throw in here too, maybe along those lines, is we've done our best to keep respect in the marriage. Because, Lewis, we're people. All of us are people. We're going to say things we shouldn't. We're going to feel times that we feel offended or discouraged, but we've done our best to not say things.
Say hurtful things to each other?
Yeah, because it's easy in the heat of the moment to...
you this and you that.
Yeah, you never done that. You never did. It's easy, but you know what? It's important to bite your tongue and keep it respectful, because, I heard that saying, people are, takes just a second to stab somebody, but that wound can last 10 years.
Oof.
And what are we stabbing them with their words and thinking, I didn't really mean it. But and again, I don't mean to make people feel condemned, because we've all said things, but you can start now. But we've just done good to, I think, keep respect. And part of that was just, you've heard that, we just many times, or sometimes we'll just agree to disagree.
How often is that? How often does that happen?
Oh, it happens, because we're running the church together in the ministry. So I was going to say it happens every month, but I don't know if it's that often. But there are major things that just say, Victoria, I feel passionate about this and I feel good about it, and she disagrees. Let's just agree to disagree and keep it respectful.
What do you do in that moment when both of you have a different vision towards something, whether it be, because it's small or it could be a big decision?
Yeah.
How do you agree to disagree, and then which way do you move forward? Then what's next?
Yeah, it's a good point. Who gets their way? I don't know. It goes both ways, but I do think that everybody has natural gifts. Well, I don't argue. I don't raise my voice, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to be a saint, but I don't. It takes two to argue, and I think I've just learned to walk away. And again, I'm not bragging on me. I think we have different personalities, and mine is real. I could be aggravated or concerned and just say, okay, you know what? Let's talk about this later, and let's just come back and I'll research it more or something like that. But I don't know. Sometimes if she feels very strongly about it, I probably don't do it.
Unless probably strongly not to do something.
Yeah, I would probably go with her way. If it was hiring somebody, or I don't know, something with her kids, I said, Victoria, I'll tell her this. I said, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to go against what you want, but that's not. I don't agree with that, and I don't. I think that we're missing it or something, and it seems to always work out.
That's beautiful.
But you have to give and take, and if I felt very strongly about it, she's real good about, she'll trust me in certain things.
That's
so.
Great. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe, and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.